Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome to those of you watching on onespotmedia.com. Representatives of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, are now at the Ministry of Finance for another round of wage negotiations. The parties were sent back to the negotiating table to find a solution to the issues which resulted in 3 days of industrial action by public sector teachers this week. The teachers have rejected the 16% wage offer over 4 years. In addition to higher base salaries, they are pushing for an increase of $60,000 in their book and software allowance. However, the government has said it cannot afford to grant either request. An audit carried out by the Auditor General's Department has uncovered irregularities in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security's rehabilitation program. With the discovery, the ministry says it has started to revamp several of its procedures and internal practices. In the audit report, which was tabled last week in the House of Representatives, the Auditor General found that an accounting clerk in the ministry channeled $1.7 million from the rehabilitation program to her husband, mother, 6 siblings, and a friend. The accounting clerk was responsible for preparing the payment advice listing at the Public Assistance Department. This has led to criminal investigations being launched by the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA. Permanent Secretary in the ministry, Colette Roberts-Risdon, last night gave TVJ News an update on the developments.
We're now looking at the establishment of a special IT program which would help us to monitor more closely the persons who receive this grant. And one of the things we are looking at in the ministry, even though we have an internal audit unit, where we are looking at how do we implement or have a risk management unit dedicated in the ministry that can become or help to become our eyes and ears for helping to monitor what happens in the payment or the operations of a number of our programs.
The rehabilitation program was established to provide emergency grants to the poorest of Jamaicans. Residents living in Green Acres, Spanish Town, St. Catherine now have a new police station. The station was created based on data indicating that criminal activities in the area escalated over the last 2 years. Commander in charge of Area 5, Assistant Commissioner of Police Derek Knight, says in 2016 and 2017, the area recorded 2 murders each year. There were also 5 cases of robberies in 2016 and 3 in 2017. 2 shooting incidents were also recorded in 2016, but there was a reduction in 2017 with 1.
6 break-ins in 2016, 2 last year. Rapes, 2 2016, 1 last year.
With that, he says the station was well needed. The station was also given a police vehicle. National Security Minister Robert Montague, who was present at the opening on Thursday, urged community members to play a greater role in reporting incidents when they see them in the community. The Spanish Town Hospital in St. Catherine recently received 2 stretchers courtesy of the St. Catherine and Portmore Municipal Corporations. Mayor of Spanish Town, Norman Scott, said that the hospital was in dire need of stretchers.
All of this came out of that tour that both Mayor Thomas and myself did last year when our colleague, former councillor Michael Edwards, passed off. And there were so many things saying about the Spanish Town Hospital. We decided to do a tour, and coming out of the tour, we have done some things, and this is also part of that continuation to ensure that the hospital gets the kind of equipment that is going to give the kind of services to the people of both Spanish Town, St. Catherine, and its surround. I don't want to rehash the story, but it was mentioned all over the place that when our colleague passed off, his corpse was put on the floor. And so it is coming out of that, we decided that we are going to be trying to find equipment to bring the kind of service at the hospital.
Meanwhile, the hospital's CEO, Wayne Franklin, said the stretchers will greatly assist the institution in its operations.
It's a great need and it's greatly appreciated. And it's heartwarming to see the council coming on board to help the organization move forward, also to meet the needs of the persons of St. Catherine. So it's greatly appreciated.
There were chaotic scenes in the Santa Cruz market Friday morning after vendors who came to sell in the market saw their stalls and goods destroyed. This as action was taken by the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation as part of their clampdown on illegal vending.
Burnt stalls, handcarts and destroyed goods was the sight in the Santa Cruz market in St. Elizabeth after the St. Elizabeth Municipal Council Police went through the market and destroyed all items found in violation of the market's policies. However, vendors say they are upset because they were not given a warning before these actions were taken.
You can't mash up the people them stall and give them no notice. The market manager tell me when I say we fi push the car them in at the market and then the Sunday morning the car them mash up. You think that is right? You understand me? Throw off the bag of yam off of the car. People gone with the bag of yam. Nobody know and them mash up the car. Broke up everything, burn up with them for burn up.
One of the rules from the municipal corporation is that there should be no vending at the front of the market gate. But the vendors insist that there is not enough room in the market to accommodate everyone, which has left many of them without a vending station.
Me now know where to sell. So we shot me to sell.
So you have,
come from so far, me pay market fees, I mean I know where to put out machine.
And from morning you can't get
nowhere to put out. And I go on the roadside and go mash up my yard.
There's no space for me as a wholesale vendor inside there. Somebody told me that I have to go around the back, but you should go around the back and look at the back section. All you see around there is feces. People urinate and do whatever they want to do around here. So there's no space.
They also claim that customers are not coming to the market and so they have to take their produce to where the customers are. They believe the municipal corporation is being unfair as they seem to be focusing on the market and ignoring the street vendors.
Me trust this money alone and me can't pay for it. And the rest of them are going with money and who in the market now going with money.
Out the road I problem and in the market I problem. You understand? Because man, I'm need to road with the car and things and cars people can't walk, driving can't move. All them have to set the street that way that take off the people off the road and put them inside the market.
Right now I come to market, I try my best to feed the people and support the people. And when me look, people left gone the road all gone sell off and me in the corner yes, and me not sell off. The market start from the gate. And once you pay and come in a market, that's where you're supposed to deal. You understand me? Take off the people off of the road where I get trouble and put them in the market and collect more money.
The vendors listed other issues, including that the market is in need of repairs, which drives away customers. Jeline Pearson, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for Northern Trelawney, Victor Wright, is calling on the National Port Authority to clearly communicate the development plans for the Falmouth market to craft vendors. It's understood that the vendors are disgruntled with the entity because of several projects that are to be implemented, which will see the relocation of the vendors.
What has happened is that today the Port Authority has produced nothing in writing. They come in and they speak into the craft traders not as a body, but as subsects of a larger group. And they tell one set here one thing, and based on what I'm gathering, they tell another set another thing. It speaks to the fact that the craft traders themselves needs to be organized and they need to be united and speak with one voice. But notwithstanding, I think as government representative and such as the Port Authority should be consistent across the board with what information they give.
He added that the vendors have been very cooperative with the entity despite the current issues, including an ongoing sewage problem. The vendors say they were told by the entity to relocate by this morning, despite several uncertainties.
Them don't give us no prices for the building them where we are going all now, and we need that. And we have some open space where them say them lock up 8 and them have 16 that open, and we don't know how or when we're going over there. And then when rain fall, everything wet up.
We register our shop, and we don't have a shop. They say for register, we don't have no shop. So we just do what they say to done. Now, over there, they say they have 24 shop. 24 shop, they say they have ready, okay? So right now it's 24. So it's 31 people. So you have 7 people not going to have no shop. You understand? We don't know where those 7 people going to be.
There's outrage from business operators and residents in Lightbody St. James as a broken National Water Commission NWC sewer main has been causing havoc in that community. Business operators say they have been complaining about the issue for almost a month. Speaking with TVJ News recently, the operators said the NWC addressed the situation a number of times with temporary fixes, but that's not enough. They say the raw sewage is costing their businesses.
It has affected me adversely because no one actually wants to step over sewage water to come and buy, well, liquor or any soft drinks.
Why it affected my health first, but business, customers not staying because of the scent. It's raw sewage running. It's not good at all for business, not for our health either. Very bad.
The residents say they are now tired of dealing with the sewage.
It happens at least twice a week for the past 3 weeks now. But each time they come and clean it, it stops for a day and then the next day it come back again. So I don't know, they need to do something different.
I would love the situation to be remedied and would love to get it fixed permanently because it's not the first that this has happened.
Water Commission, you need to do something, please.
And it's time now for our fact or fiction feature. Fact or fiction? The parish of Trelawney was named after Sir William Trelawney, a former British politician and colonial administrator. Find out the answer at the end of the sports segment of the Midday News. In news overseas, former South African President Jacob Zuma is to be charged with 16 counts of corruption, money laundering and racketeering. The charges relate to a 783 questionable payment Zuma allegedly received in connection with a controversial multi-billion rand arms deal. On Friday, National Director of Public Prosecutions, Sean Abraham, said that there are reasonable prospects for a successful prosecution in Zuma's case. And still overseas, the Trump administration has announced that it will be enacting new sanctions on Russia, this in an effort to punish Moscow for its behavior during the 2016 U.S. elections. Details from the CNN.
Tonight, the Trump administration acknowledging that Russia meddled in the 2016 election, interference that the president has repeatedly questioned, and taking its toughest action yet, enacting sanctions on Moscow to finally meet a congressional mandate to impose the penalties. Among the Russian targets on the list, all 13 people and 3 entities indicted by Special Counsel Robert Mueller last month for interference in the election, including this man, Yevgeny Prigozhin, who has deep ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Also sanctioned the company that Prigozhin financially backs, the Internet Research Agency, a Russian troll farm that produced divisive political posts on American social media platforms to incite discord during the campaign. Trump initially resisted the sanctions, signing them into law only in the face of veto-proof majorities in both houses. At the time, he lashed out at lawmakers on Twitter. Quote, "Our relationship with Russia is at an all-time and very dangerous low. You can thank Congress." The new sanctions also add more weight to Robert Mueller's investigation.
The entire thing has been a witch hunt,
which the president has repeatedly dismissed.
The president's been dragged kicking and screaming to this moment. What happened today with Treasury validates the Mueller indictment, which the administration was running away from.
And finally this afternoon, the answer to our fact or fiction feature. We asked, fact or fiction? The parish of Trelawney was named after Sir William Trelawney, a former British politician and colonial administrator. Well, it's a fact. Trelawney was named after Sir William Trelawney. He was a former governor of the colony who died in Jamaica in 1772. The parish was created in 1774 by a division of the parish of St. James. It has an area of approximately 338.25 square miles and has been ranked among the smallest of the parishes in terms of population. And that wraps up the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the primetime news package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.